Welcome. My name is Nathan Hale, and this is my confession. I never thought I'd pay someone to be my wife. But then, I never thought I'd inherit a company built on lies and expectations either. When my sister announced her wedding in Florence, my mother began planning it like a royal coronation. Every call ended the same way, asterisk. Nathan, please don't show up alone again. People talk. Asterisk. People always talk. They whisper about why I never marry, why the CEO of Hale and Company attends galas with partners instead of dates, why every woman who tries to love me disappears before the tabloids fade. They never mention the real reason. I stopped believing in love the night I lost her. Her name was Ava Carter. We met before the money, before suits and headlines, when I was a broke MBA student fixing cars to pay rent. We built our dreams on bad coffee and bigger promises. Then my father's heart failed, and I was pulled into the empire I never wanted. She stayed behind, saying I'd forget who I was. I told her she was wrong. She wasn't. 6 years later, I sat in my glass office 30 floors above Manhattan, pretending I still believed in control. My assistant, Jenna, appeared at the door clutching a folder. I found someone who fits the criteria, she said. For the wedding. Criteria? I asked, though we both knew. Someone elegant enough for photos, discreet enough to vanish after. She opened the folder. Portfolios. Headshots. Professional pretenders. I hated myself for looking, until I froze. Photo number 7, Ava Carter. The name knocked the air out of me. Her profile read asterisk freelance photographer, background in event coverage. Asterisk the photo wasn't the Ava I remembered. No wild curls or paint-stained fingers. This one looked calm, older, untouchable. But the eyes were the same, green, bright, impossible to forget. You know her? Jenna asked. You could say that. She's available. I already called. You called her? My voice came sharper than I meant. She said she'd come by this afternoon. When Ava walked in 3 hours later, time stumbled. She didn't belong in my world of marble and glass. Worn jeans, linen shirt, that same quiet defiance. So you needed a fake wife? She asked. I did. And you thought of me? I didn't. My assistant did. The lie tasted bitter. She studied me. Tailored suit, expensive watch, the stranger I'd become. You've changed. So have you. Maybe, she said. But at least I still recognize myself. Her words cut deeper than I showed. We talked logistics, dates, travel, payment. The way you discuss a contract, not a history. She stayed professional, though her hand trembled when she signed the non-disclosure. At the door, she paused. Why me, Nathan? Because no one else ever felt real. Instead, I said, because I trust you not to sell my name. She nodded. Fine. But I don't fake love well. She left before I could tell her she wouldn't have to. When the door closed, I stared at her signature on the page. The ink was still wet. So was the past. And for the first time in years, I wasn't sure if I'd just hired a solution or a storm. The morning we flew to Florence, the city still slept under fog. I stood at the window of my penthouse, tied loose, espresso cold, watching headlights carve through the dawn. Somewhere below, Ava was already on her way to the airport. I'd offered the private jet because it sounded efficient. The truth? I needed hours locked in the same cabin with her. When she stepped aboard, the air changed. She wore a soft gray dress that didn't belong to my world of polished control. Her hair was pinned loosely, a few curls escaping like unfinished thoughts. Nice jet, she said. Tax deductible. Her mouth curved faintly. Everything is with you. Silence settled between us. I wanted to tell her I hadn't slept since she walked into my office, but control meant saying nothing. Halfway across the Atlantic, she broke the quiet. "You didn't mention press coverage. You read the contract," I said. "I skimmed it. You still hide things in fine print?" "I always did." "No," she said. "You used to hide them in silence." Before I could reply, the pilot's voice crackled overhead. "Turbulence ahead, sir." The jet jolted. Her hand caught the armrest, brushed mine. Static, memory, lightning without thunder. She pulled away first. I stared at the clouds and tried not to remember. By the time we landed, the sky over Tuscany glowed gold. The villa my family had rented looked like it belonged in a painting. Terraces, vines, lavender, and too much money. My mother greeted us like royalty receiving heirs. Her gaze lingered on Ava. "She's exquisite," she whispered later. "Don't let this one slip." If only she knew. That evening, my sister's fiancé hosted a rehearsal dinner under the olive trees. Candlelight, laughter, too much wine. Ava played her part flawlessly. No one guessed we hadn't spoken in years. Except one person. "Nathan Hale," a voice purred behind me. "Still pretending everything's perfect?" Cassandra. My ex draped in gold, smile sharp as glass. "I heard you married in a hurry," she said. "Introduce your bride?" "Cassandra, this is my wife, Ava Hale," I said evenly. "Hale," she repeated. "How poetic." "It's temporary," Ava said softly, eyes steady but warning me not to speak. Later, I found her by the fountain, barefoot on the marble edge, her reflection trembling in the water. "You didn't tell me she'd be here," Ava said. "I didn't know." "Liar." "It doesn't matter." "It does to me." She turned, arms crossed. "You left me for her once. So what am I now? Damage control or revenge?" Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned. "I don't know yet," I said quietly. A door creaked. Cassandra stood in the archway, wine glass in hand. "Don't let me interrupt," she said sweetly. "Old lovers need time." She vanished again, leaving silence and perfume. Ava looked at me, suspicion edging into fear. "Nathan, what exactly have I walked into?" I wanted to say asterisk, I don't know. Asterisk, but I did. Cassandra never arrived without a plan. Somewhere between business and vengeance, a game had begun. And Ava, whether she knew it or not, was already on the board. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept circling the same questions. Why had Cassandra shown up, and how much did she know? She never did anything without purpose. If she was here, it wasn't nostalgia. It was strategy. By morning, the villa buzzed with wedding chaos. Staff rushed between terraces, florists shouted, caterers cursed in Italian. Ava avoided me through breakfast, smiling politely at my mother, laughing at my sister's jokes, pretending not to notice I was watching her. She blended into my family's world too easily, and somehow that unsettled me more than her anger. When she finally looked my way, her tone was professional. "We should review our story again," she said. "Which version?" I asked. "The one that makes us believable." We stepped onto the garden terrace, where sunlight spilled across the marble like honey. I handed her a folder, Jetta's masterpiece of fabrication. Photos, travel receipts, an engagement timeline, even a honeymoon plan to Santorini. "You're thorough," Ava murmured, flipping through the pages. "I have to be," I said. She gave a small, humorless smile. "You really think love works like a merger, don't you? It's easier that way." "No," she said. "It's emptier that way." Her words hit harder than I wanted to admit. She closed the folder, stepped closer, and looked at me steadily. "Tell me something true, Nathan." Just one thing that's not in there. I hesitated, then said quietly, I never stopped wondering what would have happened if I'd stayed. Her breath caught, but she turned away. You didn't, she said. That's all that matters. Before I could answer, movement flashed behind the glass doors. Cassandra, pretending to admire a bouquet. Watching. Listening. Her smile was too calm to trust. That evening, my sister's fiancé hosted cocktails on the terrace. Cassandra arrived late, wearing white, because of course she did. She laughed too easily, stood too close to my sister, whispered too much. I caught fragments, my name, Ava's, the word asterisk scandal. Asterisk. Later, when the guests drifted away, I stopped my sister near the stairs. What did she say to you? I asked. She hesitated. Nothing important. Just that she's happy for you. She's never been happy for anyone. My sister leaned in, lowering her voice. She said she has information about Ava. Told me to ask you before the wedding. The words landed like ice. What kind of information? She didn't say. At that moment, Ava appeared in the hallway, holding a glass of water. Something wrong? No, I said too quickly. Just family details. She didn't believe me, but she didn't ask again. When I returned to my room, a cream-colored envelope lay beneath the door. My name written in Cassandra's perfect cursive. You always did fall for the wrong women. Check the gallery tomorrow before noon. See. I went early. The air inside the gallery was heavy with dust and oil paint. Sunlight fell in sharp lines across portraits of dead relatives and older scandals. Near the end of the hall, something new hung between the gilded frames. A black and white photograph of me and Ava. We were young, broke, happy. She'd set the timer on her camera. I'd pulled her close. That photo had lived on her old hard drive, the one that disappeared the week I left. Beneath it, a silver plaque read, Property of Cassandra Vale. A soft sound behind me. Ava. Where did you get that? She whispered. I didn't, I said. She did. Her face drained of color. That was mine. You let her keep it? I didn't even know she had it. She stole it, Ava said, voice trembling. The week you left, my drive vanished. Cassandra had packed my things then. She must have found it, kept it, and waited 6 years for this moment. Ava looked at the photograph again, then at me. She's not here by accident, is she? No, I said. She wants something. What? I stared at our frozen smiles. Revenge. Outside, the bells began to ring for my sister's wedding rehearsal. Inside, everything between us cracked like glass under strain. Ava crossed her arms, voice low. If you think I'll be anyone's pawn again, you're wrong. I met her eyes. So am I. The bells faded, leaving only the sound of quiet war beginning. Florence woke in gold that morning, the kind of light that makes even broken things look whole. From the terrace, I could see the Arno curling through the valley, calm and bright. It should have been beautiful. Instead, it felt like standing on a fault line that hadn't cracked yet. Cassandra hadn't spoken to me since her little gift in the gallery, but I could feel her moving somewhere nearby, patient as a storm. Ava kept her distance too. She smiled when others were watching, ignored me when they weren't. Every photo my mother insisted on was another small punishment. Closer, my mother said for the 5th time. Your husband and wife, for heaven's sake. Ava obeyed, her hand trembling in mine while the cameras flashed. I whispered, You don't have to smile. She didn't. When the last shutter clicked, she slipped away toward the gardens. I followed. She stood beneath the olive trees, wind tugging her dress, arms crossed against herself. You should be with your family, she said. I'd rather be with you. She gave a small, bitter laugh. You're good at saying that when it's convenient. Don't do this, I said. Do what? She turned to face me. Pretend this isn't just another performance? Cassandra clearly knows who I am, and you still brought me here like a prop in your redemption arc. Her words were sharp, but her eyes betrayed something softer, fear maybe. I didn't know she'd come, I said. I swear it. She's got our photo hanging in your family gallery, Nathan. That's not an accident. That's a message. I'll take it down. You'll do nothing, said Cassandra's voice behind us. She walked into the garden wearing white, because of course she did. She carried a glass of wine and that satisfied, poisonous smile. I'd be careful, Nathan, she said lightly. People are starting to ask why your wife looks so familiar. What do you want, Cassandra? Just a favor. Her eyes glinted. What I'm sure you'll grant once you hear what I have. I'm not playing your games. She stepped closer. Then tell your little bride the truth. Not the one you rehearsed, the one about how you bought your first board seat. Ava frowned. What is she talking about? Cassandra smiled, wolfish. He didn't just leave you, darling. He used you. Those photos you took for his startup? He sold them without your permission, under his name. That deal made him rich. That's a lie, I said, but the words sounded thin. Is it? She asked. I still have the emails. His signature's on them. Ava's voice shook. Tell me she's lying. I couldn't. I'd buried the truth so long I almost believed it wasn't there. I thought I was helping you, I said. The investors wouldn't take you seriously. I thought if your work was tied to my name. She stepped back like I'd hit her. You stole from me. Ava. Don't, she said sharply. Don't call me that. Not when everything started with a lie. She turned and walked away, heels crunching over gravel, leaving me in silence. Cassandra lingered, swirling her wine. You always were predictable. You destroy everything you touch. I looked at her, voice low. If you think I'll let you use her again, you're wrong. Oh, sweetheart, she said. I already have. When she left, I sat on the stone bench, the sound of laughter drifting from the villa, my family celebrating something that wasn't real. The sun was still shining, but everything around me felt hollow. For years, I'd told myself the past was finished. But there, surrounded by vineyards and ghosts, I realized the truth. Cassandra hadn't come to ruin my sister's wedding. She'd come to finish what she started, one secret at a time. And Ava, whether she knew it or not, was standing right in the crossfire. The rehearsal dinner felt like a masquerade. Too much laughter, too many lies. The chandeliers glowed, the wine never stopped, and everyone looked happy except the bride, the groom, and the fake wife beside me, pretending I didn't exist. Ava hadn't spoken to me since the garden. She ate little, drank less, and smiled just enough to keep my mother from asking questions. Every time I tried to meet her eyes, she turned away. I'd earned her silence, and she made sure I knew it. Cassandra sat 2 seats away, wearing Triumph-like perfume. Every so often I caught her watching Ava with lazy amusement, a predator studying its own handiwork. When the music began, she rose and tapped her glass. A toast, Cassandra announced. My sister groaned. Cassandra, please. Oh, relax. It's only love I'm toasting. Her gaze slid to Ava, then back to me. To couples who look perfect in public but forget what truth looks like in private. Laughter rippled through the room, light and oblivious. Ava's fork slipped from her fingers. Enough, I said, standing. Cassandra smiled. Did I strike a nerve? You've done enough damage for one lifetime, I said. She raised her glass. Oh, Nathan, you still think damage needs permission. The silence that followed was suffocating. My mother coughed, Someone changed the music, and the world pretended again. But Ava's chair was empty. I found her 20 minutes later outside, barefoot on the cobblestones, shoes dangling from one hand. The wind tugged her hair. "Don't follow me," she said. "I have to explain," I said quietly. "There's nothing left to explain." Her voice shook. "You stole from me, lied to me, and now I'm supposed to smile for your family's cameras? I made a mistake," I said. "A selfish one." But it wasn't about money. I thought if I succeeded, I could come back for you, with something better. She turned sharply. "You think love is a transaction. You've been buying redemption ever since." "Maybe," I admitted. "But I never stopped trying to earn yours." "You can't buy forgiveness, Nathan," she said. "Not with apologies. Not with contracts." Lightning flared across the hills, bright and cold. When the flash faded, her eyes had softened, not forgiving, only tired. "Cassandra's not here for me, is she?" Ava asked. "No," I said. "She's here for revenge. And she'll use me to get it. She already has." We stood there in silence, the storm pressing closer. Inside, the party played on, all laughter and lies. "Tomorrow I'll do my part," Ava said at last. "I'll smile, I'll stand beside you, and then I'll disappear. You won't have to see me again." I wanted to stop her, tell her that losing her once had already cost me everything, but the words wouldn't come. Rain started to fall, soft at first, then heavy. It soaked through my suit, through the life I'd built out of excuses. She walked away into the dark without looking back. I stayed there, cold and drenched, realizing the truth Cassandra had never needed to say. She hadn't destroyed me. I'd done that myself. I woke to thunder and an empty villa. Ava's room was stripped bare, her suitcase gone, key left neatly on the dresser. My mother assumed she'd gone to the spa. My sister was too busy with wedding chaos to notice. But I knew. She hadn't left for comfort. She'd left to escape me. The driver told me she was staying at a small inn near the vineyards. No return ticket booked. I drove there myself, rain hammering the windshield. When I arrived, she was outside, camera in hand, photographing the valley as if she could frame a better life. When she saw me, her voice was flat. "If you're here to apologize again, save it." "I'm not," I said. "I'm here to tell you what really happened." "You already did," she replied. "No. You heard Cassandra's version. Mine's worse." She lowered the camera. "Then talk." I told her everything, how the company I joined after graduation was collapsing, how I'd used her photos without credit to impress investors. They'd love them, and the merger saved my career. I'd promised myself I'd make it right, but success came faster than regret. When I finished, she said quietly, "So you built your fortune on something stolen?" "Yes. And now you want me to say it's okay?" "I just want you to know the truth before Cassandra twists it worse." "She doesn't have to twist it," Ava said. "You already did that." Her tone wasn't angry now. It was exhausted. "You think money fixes everything. But you can't by the parts of yourself you traded away." "Tell me how to fix it," I said. "Start by meaning something without your bank account." She turned to leave. I caught her wrist gently. "Ava, you think I don't regret it?" "I regret everything. Not the company, not the money. Just the moment I chose them over you." Her eyes softened for a heartbeat, and I thought she might believe me. Then a black car appeared at the end of the drive. Cassandra stepped out, flawless under her umbrella. "Touching," Cassandra said. "But you might want to check your email, Nathan." I opened my phone. An anonymous message had gone to every major outlet in Europe. Attached, a PDF titled *Hale and Company. Built on stolen art. Asterisk my old contracts. Her photos. The emails. Proof. Ava's voice trembled. What did she do? She's trying to destroy me, I said. Cassandra smiled. No, darling. I'm reminding you, debts always come due. I stepped toward her. You've wanted this for years. Why now? Because you finally gave me a reason, she said. You brought her back. Her driver honked. Cassandra stepped back toward the car. You should thank me. The world will finally know who you really are. Then she left. Ava turned to me. You said you wanted to fix things, she said. Here's your chance. Tell the truth. If I do, the company collapses. Hundreds of jobs. Then maybe it's time something other than money mattered to you, she said. She walked away again, swallowed by the fog. I stood there in the rain, phone buzzing with calls I didn't answer. Board members, lawyers, journalists, all wanting explanations I didn't have. Cassandra thought she'd ended me. Maybe she had. But for the first time, the silence didn't feel like defeat. It felt like something breaking open, like maybe losing everything fake was the only way left to find something true. The headlines said I was finished. Cassandra's story went viral. The CEO who stole his empire. Investors panicked, board members hid, and I was left to watch the company I'd built on half-truths start to rot in public. But Cassandra had made one mistake. She'd underestimated how much evidence greedy people keep. I found Daniel, her quiet accomplice, at a bar off the main square. He looked exhausted, guilt written into the lines around his eyes. Why help me? He asked, staring into his drink. Because you want to live, I said. And because she's been using your name for years. He hesitated, then slid a USB drive across the table. Everything's on it. Emails, transfers, recordings. You'll want the folder marked * fabrications. Asterisk. When I opened it later, I heard Cassandra's voice on a hidden recording. Cool, instructive, unmistakable. She was coaching a junior investigator to alter timestamps and plant false files. That was all I needed. I took the drive to a lawyer I trusted, someone too clean to belong in my world. She didn't flinch. We'll go public, she said. Expose her pattern. But you'll be under oath too, Nathan. All of it comes out. I know, I told her. Let it. Within days, the media flipped. New articles called it * Cassandra's fabricated empire. * my lawyer released the proof, recordings, metadata, sworn statements. The junior investigator confessed on camera, admitting Cassandra had paid him to falsify evidence. Cassandra tried to hold her ground with polished statements. These accusations are the desperate defense of a disgraced man, she told reporters. But then the audio leaked, her own voice saying, * destroy him completely. Truth is just branding. * The board held an emergency meeting. I sat through it quietly while they voted to cut ties with her foundation and file charges for fraud and obstruction. The same people who once bowed to her now wouldn't meet her eyes. When I walked out of that room, Ava was waiting in the hall. She didn't smile. She just asked, It's over. Almost, I said. She won't stop until she's exposed completely. She already is. Days later, prosecutors opened a formal case. Cassandra's network collapsed. Investors withdrew. Partners resigned. Her glossy empire disintegrated in real time. The press called it * Cassandra's reckoning. * they called mine * Hale's fall. * I stopped caring which headline sold better. Ava stood beside me when the verdict came. Fraud confirmed, damages awarded, her lies unmasked. Watching Cassandra on the courtroom screen was like seeing a ghost realize it had died. When it was done, Ava said quietly, Does it feel like winning? No, I said. It feels like clearing the wreckage. We walked outside into gray light. She linked her arm through mine. Not forgiveness, not love yet, just presence. I looked at her and said, "We made the truth louder than her." "For once," she replied, "that's enough." And maybe it was. Because for the first time in years, silence didn't feel like guilt. It felt like the start of something clean. 3 months after the scandal, the city outside my apartment finally stopped buzzing with my name. The headlines had moved on to fresher ruins. Hale and company survived by a thread, but I didn't. I resigned before the board could ask. The silence that followed felt nothing like defeat. It felt like the first honest sound in years. I spent my days settling the wreckage, paying debts, signing confessions, returning everything that had been taken, even the things no one asked for. Cassandra faced indictments for fraud and conspiracy. Daniel vanished into some quiet new life, and the press decided I was no longer useful. For once, that anonymity felt merciful. Ava came by one afternoon to return a camera lens I'd borrowed years ago and never used. One visit became 2, then every week. We didn't talk about forgiveness. She didn't know me that. Instead, we sat in my half-empty apartment with coffee growing cold between us, the kind of silence that doesn't ache anymore. Sometimes she'd take photos, light sliding across the walls, reflections in glass, fragments of peace I hadn't noticed until she framed them. One day, she turned her camera on me. "Still uncomfortable being seen?" she asked. "Depends who's looking," I said. She smiled, small, real, unguarded. That was how I knew we were beginning again. When she suggested returning to Florence, I didn't hesitate. The villa had been sold, but the chapel on the hill still stood, quiet, cracked, overgrown with ivy. She said she wanted to see it one last time. I understood what she really meant. We arrived at dusk. The chapel smelled of rain and dust, the kind of stillness that remembers. She walked ahead, fingertips brushing the pews. "This is where everything fell apart," she said softly. "Then it's only fair it's where we start over," I answered. She turned, startled. "You're serious?" "No guests," I said. "No photographers. Just us." She laughed. "You don't even have a ring." I pulled a small silver band from my pocket, bought from a street vendor on the walk up. "The last one was worth a fortune and meant nothing," I said. "Maybe this one can mean everything." Her eyes glistened, and she whispered, "You sure this isn't another deal?" "Only if you're my equity," I said. She laughed then, a sound that filled the empty chapel better than any prayer. We said no vows, no speeches. Just words that mattered. I told her I'd stopped wanting to be admired and started wanting to be understood. She told me she didn't need promises, only presence. The rain started halfway through, soft and steady. We didn't run. We stood in it, drenched and laughing, 2 people finally done performing. Later, we walked down the hill, mud on our shoes, the city lights glimmering far below. For once, I didn't think about power or loss, just her hand in mine, warm and alive. Weeks later, the tabloids caught up. Asterisk disgraced CO marries unknown photographer in secret chapel. Asterisk they called it scandalous. I called it peace. We moved into a small apartment above her new studio. She worked. I helped where I could. Some of her students recognized me and whispered, but she just smiled and kept talking about light and truth and how beauty hides in imperfection. One night, I found her in the darkroom. A photograph floated in the tray, us outside the chapel, soaked, laughing, unposed. "I call it proof," she said. "Proof of what?" I asked. "That you can lose everything," she said, "and still keep what's real." I took her hand, ink-stained and steady, and realized that for the first time in my life, I wasn't chasing redemption. I was already home. Thanks for being here. Every story deserves someone who listens. Subscribe, because the next confession might change the way you see everything.